So, where is it that we're really supposed to focus on when we are celebrating Passover? Hi, this is Rabbi Andy Koren from Temple Emmanuel in Greensboro, North Carolina. And as we head into the Shabbat, we know that we're only a few days away from Passover. And so I want to really focus on that question because so much of what takes place around Passover happens in the kitchen. Temple Emmanuel's kitchen, we'll be having our second Seder on the second night of Passover this year on Thursday, just a little bit over a week from now. But the fact of it is that so much is focused on the preparation. We have friends coming over, we have family coming over, we have a community coming over, and the action seems to happen in the kitchen. But I'd say that, and maybe you know this also, that really where Passover happens is around our table. It's taking the message from the kitchen and what we're eating and bringing it into our hearts and into our lives and into our conversation as we talk about issues of freedom and as we talk about what God is calling us to do. I'm standing in front of a Seder plate here. And so, for those who are looking to do a Seder, you know that you just have to have a plate, even a very fancy one like this, or maybe just a plate that you can put 6 different items on. I'll go through them real quickly. That you're going to want to have karpas, right, the leafy vegetable, bitter herbs, something representing a bone because of the Passover sacrifice that's part of the story that we're telling, from the Torah itself. Vegetarians, by the way, use a beet. And the reason it's given for that is that we want our enemies to beat it. And here you have an egg. Lots of explanations for that. And one of the things I heard is that what do vegans do at Passover Seders, right? I talked about vegetarians a moment ago, but some vegans have been using mushrooms in that place. Haroset to represent the mortar that was used in the storehouses and in the other places that we built as slaves for 400 years when we were enslaved in Egypt. And this Seder plate actually has on it, instead of a second piece of a vegetable, what we call chazeret. It has something that I think is really important that we need to know, which is that it has a little place here for salt water. We will wind up dipping the leafy vegetable in the salt water towards the beginning. So you're going to want to make sure that you have some salt water. You're going to want to make sure that you have wine cups, right? 4 cups of wine, including an additional one that we put on the table for the prophet Elijah, and another additional one that we put on for Miriam, right? That we fill with water. And there's so many other symbols of Passover that we have. It is an evening of conversation, of teaching, of delving into our central narrative, which is the narrative of freedom. Once being slaves or other moments in our history, and now praying for freedom. And I can't help this year but to think about freedom, right? Israelis who have been spending so many parts of their days running to bomb shelters and reinforced areas. There is a different path forward for that part of the world. Iranians who really are deserving of freedom, and so many others. We could go down the list. Maybe that's going to be part of your conversation also this year. Um, yeah, so Passover is coming up. To take it from the kitchen and to bring it into our conversations, our narratives, and our lives. We head into this Shabbat known as Shabbat HaGadol, right, the Great Sabbath, where we think about issues relating to Passover and freedom. And I just hope that this is a very liberating and meaningful Passover for you and your family. Take care and Chag Sameach.